Welcome back to my channel. My name is Ray, and if you don't know, I post book content and I absolutely love to read. Today's video, we're going to be picking out my maytbr. If you've been on my channel before, you know that the way that I've been picking out my TBR is through playing Jenga, but we are going to be doing things a little bit differently today. We are going to be throwing it back old school style and picking from a TBR jar. Now you might be wondering, Ray, where's the TBR jar? Is the TBR jar in the room with us? It's actually right here. This is my little TBR jar. This is a little plant jar I got from Chapters Indigo, which is like a Canadian bookstore that we have here. I actually just use it to throw in my annotation supplies and any other bookish supplies that I have, but it is right here. We are going to be picking from that. I don't know why I've never thought to use it for a TBR jar before. Now I had a lot of TBR prompts. I felt like I was cutting these for a long time, and then I put them in here and you can barely tell that there's anything in there. But the good thing about that is that I'm someone who I don't pull a huge TBR. I typically pull 3 prompts just because 3 books is typically, I think on average, doable for me for a month to read, even if it is like a bit of a slower reading month. So we are going to be pulling 3 prompts. However, I'm going to be a little bit ambitious. May is a special month for me. It's my birthday in May, so I am going to be adding some non-negotiable books to this list as well as pulling 3 prompts. So it's going to be more than 3 books for this month, but I'm allowed to be ambitious because my birthday's coming up. So I do have one non-negotiable, which is Tattered Tides by Sarah A. Bailey. It's actually my current read. It's April 26th, but I don't know that I'll be able to finish it before the end of the month, so I might be kind of pulling into May. But that is a book that I have an arc for. It's coming out May 5th, and I'm really excited to be reading that one. I also do hope that I will be able to pull a prompt for this, but I do want to read The Deal by Elle Kennedy. I know the show's coming out in May. I think it's May 13th. And obviously it's been a huge book that I've heard about across all platforms, and I know a lot of people are so excited about it. I've read it years and years and years ago, and I feel like it's kind of cheating that I'm gonna read it right before the show comes out and I get to just kind of dive into that right after reading the book, but I'm hoping that I'll get a prompt pull for that. And then I would love to read Powerless by Elsie Silver as well this month. I just feel like Powerless is just a book that I'm so excited about, so if we get a prompt for that, I might pull that one. But other than those books, I think that's pretty much it for the ones that I kind of want to get to. And then obviously, like, I want to pick up the next book in the MM line series, which is book 6 in the series. I have recently read book 4 and book 5. So let's get to picking our first prompt from our TBR jar. This is fun. I don't think I've ever done it this way before. I think it's my first time picking a prompt from here. It's kind of like, which one do I go for? All right, let's do what we have. So it says random number, oh my gosh, random number generator picks a book on your litfic/other shelf. Okay, the way that we're going to be doing that is I'm going to be just pulling up a number generator on my phone. I didn't think I'd be getting a prompt like that. I didn't think I was going to get that. Okay, so I'm going to pull up a random number generator, and then I have a lot of books on my bookshelves that I haven't read. The TBR cart aren't the only books that I haven't read. I have a lot of books unread. So we're going to pull up a random number generator. Let me just screen record. So let's just do 1 to 50 because there's probably that many books on that shelf. So generate, okay, book 28. So I'm gonna go pick out book 28. I don't even know what that's gonna be. I'm terrified, but we're gonna go pick out book 28, and then I will bring it back over here and we'll see what we get. Okay, so this is kind of my litfic shelf. It's a little bit of a mess as you go further down, and then the bottom is just fantasy. I'm only gonna be counting the books that I have not read, obviously. So I've read that top shelf. We're gonna start from here. So we have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18, 19, 20, 21, 22, 23, 24, 25, 26, 27, and then 28. I don't know if I should pick like this one or this one should be 28. I feel like this is the closest to it, so maybe it's in the Hour of the Crows. Okay. I think this one's fantasy. Let me just double check because it did say litfic. I don't know why I would have put this here. I'm gonna have to look this one up. So we're gonna bring this one and Black Cake over because I don't know if In the Hour of the Crows is technically litfic, and then my fantasy shelf is over there. So I just feel like we need to do a little bit of digging to see, and then if not, it'll be Black Cake. So one of these 2 books will be the ones on the TBR. Okay, so we have 2 for this because I didn't know. My bookshelves are an absolute disaster. I need to do a reorganization at some point, but I didn't know between these 2 which one was technically considered the 28th book. So I brought them both, and I didn't know if this one was fantasy or if it's considered fiction or whatever it might be. I can't remember. I bought this one a little while ago from Costco when Costco still had books. My Costco doesn't have any books anymore, but I need to double check to make sure it has fiction in there because or else it doesn't really count towards the prompt. And then if not, Black Cake will be the next one in that. So I'm excited for either of these. I can't remember what this one's about, but I know that this one has a show on Crave, I think it is. So either one of these could be a good option. This one's a little bit shorter, I think, and so we'll see which one we get to, but I'm just going to quickly check and see if In the Hour of the Crows is fiction. Okay, so In the Hour of the Crows, the genre says fantasy, mystery, magical realism, fiction, historical fiction, witches, paranormal, adult, magic, and supernatural. So because that kind of does fall under fiction as well, we are going to go with In the Hour of Crows. I don't think I would have picked this book up anytime soon if it wasn't for this prompt. So I guess that's a good thing about picking from a TBR jar, is that it kind of allows you to read the books that you have not had on your radar for a little while and get those off your TBR. So the first book on the TBR is In the Hour of the Crows by Dana Elmendorf. It's very short, I think, so there's no reason I shouldn't be able to read it. I think it's under 300 pages. Yeah, it's like 280 pages. So the first book on the TBR is In the Hour of the Crows, and you know what? I'm not mad about it. Let's go for our second prompt. Okay, this is the one that got stuck, so let's put that one in. Okay, so the next prompt, it's another big one. Okay, maybe I should have mixed these up a little bit more, but we do have random number generator picks a book on your fantasy shelf. I thought I was gonna be able to pick some of the reads for my May TBR, but it's my fault for putting these prompts in. Either way, I think we're gonna end up with a good read because I have so many good books on my fantasy shelf that I just feel like I need that little bit of push to read. And then if I do count a book that's in a series, there's a couple on there that if it does land on it, I know that I have to go back to a previous series to read that. Like for example, Melissa K. Rorick. I didn't end up reading Lady of Darkness when I picked it out 2 months ago for my TBR. So for that, if I land on Reign of Shadows and Endings or any book in the Legacy series, I'm going to go back to the Lady of Darkness series and pick a book from there. Let's pull the number generator again. Let me screen record. We're gonna hit generate, still on the same number from our LitFix shelf. So let's hit generate and we have 11. So it's a book close to the top. What if it's an Olivia Blake book? Again, what if I just keep getting Olivia Blake? So let's head on over to my fantasy shelf. I'm gonna switch you over to my phone and let's go pick the 11th book on my fantasy shelf that I haven't read. Okay, so we have my fantasy shelf over here. Again, as you go down, it kind of gets messy, which is, it's telling me that I need to do a bookshelf reorganization at some point. But it's really funny because the other day I was picking out When the Moon Hatched, because I know the second book is coming out in that series this month, in May, I believe. And I almost moved it up to the top, so wouldn't it have been hilarious if I had moved that and that was a pick, because it's such a big book, it scares me, but at the same time I'm so intrigued by it that I want to read it. But if we're going up here and we're starting up here, I still have the last 3 books in the Throne of Glass series to read. So we've got 1, 2, 3, and then coming down here we've got 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11. There's no way. Okay, that's crazy. I think the universe really wants me to read this book. Okay, so I guess this is the pick again. You cannot make this up. This is insane. We have the 11th book on my fantasy shelf is Alone with You in the Ether. Now, I did not read this back in January. I did read I think it was my January pick, but I did read the other 2 books that I had in January, which was the 3rd book in the Emma M. Line series, as well as A Tongue So Sweet and Deadly. So I didn't get to this one, and it's crazy that it's back on the TBR twice this year so far. I was so excited to read it when I picked it out, but then I was seeing a lot of videos and not so great reviews about it. And I think someone said, and maybe it's not this book, but it's just like a continuation. There's no chapters in it, which is interesting. I don't think I've read a book like that in a while. So I feel like the universe is screaming at me to read this book, and I feel like you can't make this up. You can't make this up that this is back on the TBR. So if the universe is screaming at me to read this book, maybe it means it's the right time, right place, right year to read this book. So this is officially the 2nd book on my May TBR, Alone with You in the Ether by Olivia Blake. Surprisingly enough, all these books are pretty short, so that makes me feel confident that I'll be able to put some of the other books that I really want to read as well on my TBR, but this is our official 2nd book on the May TBR. Okay, let's go ahead and pick our 3rd and final prompt for today's video. I think I'm gonna pick like one of the smaller prompts to get something different, because I do have 3 random number generators in there, and could you imagine if I got all 3? Okay, this one came out, so we'll grab this one. So the 3rd and final prompt, which is really nice, is any book on your TBR cart. Now I do have my TBR cart right here. I also have all the series I'm in the middle of on my couch right now, because I've moved stuff around in my office once again and it's kind of there. But because it says on my TBR cart specifically and I didn't move these back to my TBR cart, I guess we'll just pick from here, which is fine because I feel like there are a lot of books on here. Like this is kind of my priority spring TBR. There are a lot of good picks. I think I either want to do either Woman on the Verge, Her Mother's Daughter, Emma of 83rd Street, or Twice by Mitch Albom could be good. I feel like Mitch Albom's books are just always so good. They're so short, but they have so much depth and so much meaning to them. I feel like you get a lot out of the books. You always feel kind of revived and refreshed from coming out of one of his books, just because they're always packed with just so much meaning. And yeah, all of these are on my like radar to read, so it's really hard to just choose one. Here One Moment is like kind of like a mystery, and I feel like that could be fun as well. But I think it's going to probably be like my thought processes go to Emma of 83rd Street. I feel like that could be fun. We are going to pick Her Mother's Daughter by Leslie Crew. Leslie Crew is a Canadian author, and I've been wanting to read one of her books for a little while now and just kind of get into her writing. And the premise of this one's really interesting. It says, Sisters Bay and Tansy are complete opposites. Widowed mother Bay has never lived anywhere but Louisburg. Did I say that right? Restless Tansy left the town as a teenager and stayed away for years, and now Tansy is home and unwittingly falling in love with her sister's almost boyfriend, home and befriending Ashley when all Bay can do is fight with her teenage daughter, home and desperately hiding the real reason she fled all those years ago. When crisis hits the family, family, the sisters draw closer. But the closer they are, the more explosive their relationship, and soon their troubled history threatens to shatter what's left of their family forever. Complex and heartwarming, Her Mother's Daughter is an exploration of family and friends and the tangled skeins of love, mistakes, and secrets twisting between us all. So I feel like that's going to be really good. I've been wanting to read it for a little while, so I think the final book we're going to have on our maytbr for any book on your TBR card is Her Mother's Daughter. To just kind of go through all the books again, the first prompt we pulled was random number generator picks a book on your litfic/other shelf, and then we chose In the Hour of the Crows by Dana Elmendorf. I didn't read what this one was about. When called upon, she can talk the death out of dying and save their lives only once, never twice, but this truly unique gift comes at a price, rooting Weatherly to people who only want her around when they need her and resent her backwater ways when they don't. Weatherly's cousin Adair also has a gift. She's a scryer and can see the future reflected back in dark surfaces. Right before she is killed in an accident, Adair saw something unnerving, and that's why Weatherly believes she was murdered. Never thinking for a moment that it was an accident, but when Weatherly for the first time is unable to talk the death out of a mayor's son, the whole town suspects she's out for revenge and she wouldn't save him. With the help of clues Adair left behind her father's granny witch recipe box, Weatherly sets out to find the truth behind her cousin's death, whatever it takes. Imbued with magic, witchery, and suspense, Dana Elmendorf's In the Hour of the Crows is a thrilling tale of friendship, identity, and love. It's the first book we have on the TBR. Second prompt we pulled was random number generator picks a book on your fantasy shelf, and it picked Alone with You in the Ether by Olivia Blake. I actually don't even know what this book's about. It says, Chicago sometime, two people meet in the Art Institute by chance. Prior to their encounter, he is a doctoral student who manages his destructive thoughts with compulsive calculations about time travel. She's a bipolar counterfeit artist. Whoa. Okay. Undergoing court-ordered psychotherapy. By the end of the story, these things will still be true. But this is not a story about endings. For Regan, people are predictable and tedious, including and perhaps especially herself. She copes with the dreariness of existence by living impulsively, imagining a new alternate timeline being created in the wake of every rash decision. To Aldo, the world feels disturbingly chaotic. He gets through his days by erecting a wall of routine, a backbeat of rules and formulas that keep him going. Without them, the entire framework of his existence would collapse. For Regan and Aldo, life has been a matter of resigning themselves to blueprints of inevitability until the two meet. Could 6 conversations with a stranger be the variable that shakes up the entire simulation? I don't think I ever knew that that's what this book was about, and reading that makes me really intrigued to get into it. So maybe this is the month I actually read this book, and I feel like if it doesn't get read and it gets put on another TBR and I don't read it, I don't know. And then the third and final prompt we pulled was any book on your TBR card, which I chose Her Mother's Daughter by Leslie Crew, which I've been wanting to read for a while. So I'm really excited about all of these. Honestly, I'm really excited about all these. They all sound incredible. They're all shorter books, so I feel like I can still get to finishing Tattered Tides because I started earlier, finishing Powerless by Elsie Silver maybe, and then The Deal by Elle Kennedy. Hopefully I can get to those books. So it might be a 6-book month this month. So we'll see how that goes. But if you made it this far, thank you so much for watching. Make sure you like and subscribe to keep up with my content, and I hope to see you in the next one.